This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl, episode number 102. Well, Tim, you doing your homework? Just shuffling papers there.
Well, I'm out of my normal studio because I'm visiting my mother up in Massachusetts right now. So I was in LA. We're kind of spread all over the little continental United States map.
Is that your teenage bedroom you're in?
It is, but that's not my teenage decor by any means. It's kind of my mom's mommed it up. And so.
I noticed that you don't have your usual notebook. You're rocking a legal pad.
Oh yes, well, yeah.
Well, that's what we do.
I've been up here all week planning how to sue my folks. No, I'm joking.
Have you been down in that delightfully delicious cave-like smelling basement I was once down in?
Oh yes, I have. Because I
Plastic toys.
This weekend we grilled. They have like a little Weber grill that's down there, so I had to take it out of the basement to I don't grill up some meats and stuff like that. We had raw oysters with Italian sausages. Yeah, it was
Hey, don't stop teasing. All right, it sounds like you're having your own. I don't know if you heard about this. We miss all the good parties. Did you hear about the redneck rave?
No, please
Okay.
inform me.
All right. 48 people have been charged after a redneck rave in Kentucky descended into chaos as one man had his throat slit. A woman was choked in a fight over a blanket, and another man became impaled on a log. Tens of thousands of people attended the 5-day Redneck Rave Festival. I don't know why we weren't invited to play at Blue Holla Off-Road Park in a small town of Mammoth Cave, 90 miles outside of Louisville. We'll be there soon. Dozens of attendees were charged with a range of offenses from drug trafficking to felony. Some seriously injured as grisly scenes unfolded at what organizers billed as America's wildest and craziest country party. Now, the guy that had his throat slit by a friend after a drunken fight, they were drunk, got into a fight. One of them slit the other one's throat and fled into the park and is still at large.
Oh boy.
Separate incident, 29-year-old Lancer, no, surprised he wasn't the slicer. Lancer Hodges was arrested after he allegedly strangled the woman until she passed out when they got into a fight over a blanket. The victim told police that she couldn't breathe and blacked out, was left with scratches on her neck and fingerprints behind her ears. Now, Lancer, he denied choking the woman, but was still charged with strangulation, wanton endangerment, and fourth-degree domestic violent assault. Now, my favorite incident at the Redneck Rave, a man was driving. Oh, I think that's him now.
What were the Hell's Angels, the bodyguards of this thing?
They're my bodyguards. A man driving a side-by-side at the festival ended up with a log impaled in his abdomen. Authorities, I'm getting there. Authorities say that the man drove over the log, but it broke through the floorboard of his recreational vehicle and stabbed him in the abdomen. When it tried to go out through his back, it was stopped by a steel plate behind the seat, and the first responders were forced to leave the log in the man's abdomen while he was airlifted to the hospital. We miss all the fun.
Well, what was his name? Kenny Loggins? Sorry, I had to do it.
Well, you did it. Yeah. Oops, you did it again.
So I guess there's no like quote unquote kind of techno-y rave music. It's all just contemporary country, and they just call it the
Honey, it's called the Redneck Rave. Give me a break. Who wants that techno crap?
I wonder, are they all on ecstasy or just drunk?
Oh, come on, crystal meth. They're hillbilly.
Oh, right.
Which I don't find an offensive name. I think it's kind of sexy. Redneck, hillbilly. I don't, maybe to people who are insulted with that, I got a bit of hillbilly in me. I'm a bit of a redneck.
Well, redneck raves. I never even knew about them. So,
well, they keep our types out.
Sure.
Not violent enough.
Well,
like, don't let Master T, don't let Timmy Young, don't let Luscious
right.
over the. Oh, there won't be enough trouble. All right, what you got?
Well, it's a busy weekend. It was Father's Day. We had record heat spikes all throughout the West. A 53-year-old woman from Ohio decided to do a solo backpacking trek through the Grand Canyon where it was 115 degrees, and now she's dead. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of hikers, adventure seekers, that's all fine, but sometimes you got to use your brain, because it also, not even if you want to go out that way, it ends up costing us a fortune. There's helicopters and all that stuff, but you just don't want to be doing desert hikes by yourself.
Okay, well, Death Valley reached 128 degrees.
29, I think.
Maybe 129. And Denver saw, more than 3 100-degree days in a row. Okay, let me just start at the beginning of this. It was last week one of the worst heat waves in decades across the West, shattering hundreds of daily records, as well as several of all-time hottest temperatures for the month. Tucson, 8 straight days of temperatures over 110, breaking the record for the number of consecutive, and it is hot enough in Arizona. Phoenix, 6 straight days, temperatures over 115. A historic and potentially deadly heat wave now is on tap this week for the Pacific Northwest and into southwestern Canada. And never before seen temperatures they're expecting in Portland, Seattle, Spokane. So it's going to reach, who has air conditioning in Washington State or Canada? Nobody. So a lot of people, a lot of heat wave deaths. And it's the same weather pattern, right, that brought it to the Southwest. So Southwest, now it's going Northwest. And they're not kidding around when they say triple-digit heat this weekend into next week, and people are just not prepared for that there. But they're not alone, because Scandinavia, France, Germany, Belarus, Latvia, all of them are under, and by the way, a heat wave. Siberia, 118 degrees.
That's crazy. Because they have the Euro Cup, right, the soccer right now, and they're playing in St. Petersburg, Russia. It was in the 90s, and this is like 9 at night.
This is 50 degrees hotter than it ever gets. And now last year, Siberia also had a heat wave, which led to all of these craters appearing in the ground. Sinkholes. The release of what? Gas from permafrost of thousands of years old, probably the culprit for, the dents in the Earth's. And also, last year, the South Pole was warming at a rate 3 times faster than the global average. So basically, keep on till you get, we better contact Stevie Wonder about reaching a higher ground, I think. I just got to kind of finish this up. I'm sorry, but please. Another problem with the heat wave is, besides the death of everything is coming, is, I don't know if you've heard about this, because mainly it used to be consigned just to Mexico, South America. It's a flesh-eating disease called leishmaniasis. Leishmaniasis. Okay. And it's caused by 20 different kinds of parasites, right? Ugh. And it is besides South America, Mexico, Central America, 90 different countries have this, but now it's coming here. So what happens is it bites humans, right? It's like sand flies. After the flies have been infected by animals, usually rats, whose blood the insects feed on. And sand fleas and flies, they thrive in hot sandy beaches. So, they were already a big infestation in Florida in 2018, and now Texas and Oklahoma, 3 states. I must say, there's so many goddamn rats there that no wonder the sand flies are biting people. So the World Health Organization, they said that this disease was actually one of it was on a list of neglected tropical diseases, but mainly because the poor people in the world die of it. So, too bad for them. But so it not only is flesh eating, but some of them also infect the liver, the spleen, bone, death. Hello. So this is what we have to look forward to. They haven't come this far yet. They said it would probably be a couple of decades before they get this far north. So we're good for now.
And it sounds like when they come this far north, the first states will be Florida, Texas.
Well, it's already there.
It's already there. Well, all right.
It's already. Florida had an infestation in 2018. But so all I'm saying, Tim, keep the sand out of your ass crack.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
So, speaking of Florida, a Boy Scout group. They're on an Eagle Scout project. So I don't understand. If you're a Boy Scout, I don't know. I don't care. But that's not the point. They were doing something where they were going into some historic building in Pensacola. And, it's like some scavenger hunt. Well, they found something they didn't expect. Remains of a human body. All these young boys. And now it's being investigated.
So the Boy Scouts found it.
The Boy Scouts, yeah. Or maybe it was planned by their scout leader. I don't know.
Other crimes we know have been committed by men in charge of young children.
Oh, yeah. Ugh, God. Yeah, I don't know the rules about the boy. There were some lawsuits about like Boy Scouts and
it goes.
I don't know.
It goes right hand in hand with priests and bishops. Come on now.
Yes,
unbelievable.
Exactly. There was some good news. 8-year-old little Robert Sanchez was on his Father's Day camping trip with Dad and a bunch of his brothers when there was a storm and a giant fucking tree comes crashing down, and his older brother Nathan Morales does some kind of hero tackle like out of an action movie, and the kid got partially pinned, but it basically saved his little brother from being completely crushed. So now he's like a hero in I don't know which town in Indiana, but a lot of action over the weekend with Father's Day. You go out there and things should happen. Now, in Exeter, England, a young woman was on a bridge or an overpass to the M5, and she was like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill myself." She was, suicide. So you had all these police and crew and firemen out there, and they're trying everything like, "Don't do it," and she wasn't budging. And then one of them said, "Why don't we send Digby?" And they all said, "You're right. Let's get Digby." Well, Digby is a 3-year-old chocolate Labradoodle. And they sent Digby out there, and the girl turns around, and I guess Digby's face is so goofy and silly, the girl just bursted out laughing. And then the crew went, they're like, "Well, would you like to come and hang out with Digby?" And she's like, "I guess so." And so Digby saved the day, and now Digby is a hero in Exeter, England, for saving this young girl's life.
Okay, well, I'd like to go into someone who is less a hero to some and a worldwide creep to others. Okay, more than 56,000 people have already signed a petition to stop Jeff Bezos from returning to Earth after his trip to space next month. Petitions have reached 56,000 signatures. The one with the most signatures is titled, "Do Not Allow Jeff Bezos to Return to Earth." Now, he plans to go on an 11-minute journey with his bro, right, in his new spaceship, the Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. And people are just saying, this was after 3 days after his announcement, the petitions were launched to prevent his re-entry into Earth. And yeah, I mean, so it's Bezos, his brother, and some anonymous idiot who paid $28 million for an 11-minute journey. Hey, I'll take you to Coney Island for a lot less than that, honey. I'll give you the ride of your damn life, I'm telling you. They'll be strapped into a dome-shaped capsule which sits on top of the rocket booster. Now, he just might not come back to Earth. You never know. So anyway, Jose Ortiz, who set up one of the petitions, said in a description that Bezos was an evil overlord hell-bent on global domination, and the fate of humanity, people, is in your hands. The world has no room for more billionaires or millionaires. To the moon.
I mean, going to space is not. It's kind of dangerous.
He should ask his buddy Elon Musk how many rockets he blew up.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, I guess he's 11 minutes. You just gotta go just above the atmosphere, and you.
Well, it's probably longer than most of his sexual activity. So I guess.
Roar.
Rocket Man. All right, whatever.
In California, all throughout all these wellness centers, yoga, kind of spiritual, new agey places, QAnon is catching like wildfire in those circles.
Hey, if not this God, that God. If not this religion, that religion. Fill the hole in my soul.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting who and what latches onto that, but right now in California, it's really it's a big article in the LA Times. It's
Well, I
become
mean,
a
look, LA
problem.
Times, I mean, they got Scientology. I guess, come on, there's room for every idiot. All right.
Yeah.
Well, this
all
kind of
right.
follows that. Now, I don't know if you heard about this, but reporters at the Arizona Mirror and various local TV stations have been following the making of Deep
Okay.
Rig. And it's a documentary about the Arizona audit with an interview with Doug Logan, head of the Cyber Ninjas, which will premiere in a few days. Now, of course, the filmmaker was hired by the Republicans, and it's the same filmmaker who did a film in 2018 about Nazis in space, aliens killing JFK, aliens responsible for 9/11. I think this should be a laugh riot. I can't wait to see it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, if aliens had the technology to travel to Earth and visit us, I think they would do, and they wanted to attack us, I think they would do much bigger damage than 9/11.
I mean, okay. I mean, this filmmaker is so outlandish, and these are beyond the beyond. And of course, where it's being launched or who it's specifically for is all the Q freaks.
Yeah, well, Trump, it's on. He really believes he's going to be reinstated as
Mr. Pillow is saying it's going to be a beautiful inauguration. This guy is already in outer space. He is a space alien. He needs to go. Actually, I know I have a good use for a pillow. It's called right on his face, and I'll sit on top of it just to get rid of this. He has his own circus.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I mean, Mike Lindell is worth $300 million. We've gone all over this. I think he's back on speed. He was in crack before.
Yeah, well, I don't care whatever he's on. I would love to be that silly for one day in my life. I mean, I must say, give it to me. I mean, if he just distributed all that money to people, he would be the president. Just saying.
Well, I don't have any more stories to close with, but next week we have some exciting things I'd like to maybe plug a little bit.
It's a big week for us. We have the opening at IFC in New York on June 30th of the long-awaited documentary Beth B. has made of me called The War Is Never Over. That's starting to play, and it's going around the country, and I'll be going to a few places. And also, we have the return of not only a retrovirus, July 2nd at TVI, but with, again, Art Gray Noise, who we closed New York down with on March 13th of last year, and now reopening it with the same spectacular double bill. And anybody that wants to check out the Art Gray Noise, check out their music. They're on one of our previous podcasts, and that's what we're doing. We got plenty of stories, but that'll do it for now.
So I don't know. Do you have a closer?
I do have a closer, and the closer is this. In lieu of all this nonsense, and this will launch on this launches usually at midnight on Thursday. That's the last supermoon of this year, and it's supposed to be phenomenal, really beautiful, fat, low-hanging supermoon, which is appropriate because our guest, Matilda Joon, is going to tell us a bit about pagan rituals that happen from the beginning of Swedish tradition to now around the summer solstice. And we're going to feature some of her incredible poetry. I've known this woman for quite a few decades, and recently she's been recording with one of the guys in Leather Nun. We're going to be playing some of her tracks. So I think it's appropriate to end all of this clownery with a celebration of our natural, inherent pagan rituals and poetry. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, episode 102 and counting.
I thought I'd drop my last tear on the last hug, and in comes you. Something strange, something wonderful, and my heart blooms once again. For a kind spell I'm restored, a blessing and a curse. This is the road to heaven of my selection. I breathed in your sable eyes, straight and down into my soul, your heartbeat in my ear, never to waste rosebud moments, holding on to this strange, strange dream. We are torn, loved, ripped apart, played, hustle, marked, scorned, adored, and mocked, and we do it anyways. Sad below the stars, we argue with the sun, we do it all again. So much time to fall slowly in love with, so many miles to remember, so many broken promises to break all over again. The cigarette smoldering, a violet plume of smoke curling, chased again by the midnight sun. This darling twilight, these darling words echoing in my sad mind. All these wishes. Together we make serial killers sleep forever. Together we provide the sun to heal sick animals. Together we care a lot less more every day for those who never cared at all. Together we share in the silence of quiet kindness. There is an unbreakable strength in our sensitivity. We live life raw, full to the hilt, laugh it up, share the bill, kiss our hands, laugh at our bad luck, turn up the volume and embrace this wild chance at life we only get one shot at. I wanted to be a rock in a world that forgot how to roll. A soft hurt in the smile, a whistle in the distance, a guitar chord, a heartbeat that makes your own chest break. A smile that says, you can't save nothing but thank you for trying. Hands that hold you near and dear. This timelessness, this humble cigarette smoke plume, purple silence, cut my heart open with a kiss that lasts longer than 1,000,000 years. I love to remind you about your priceless smile. I love to remind you that you, moving across the room, makes my insides bloom. Rare flowers, you, who make me feel soft, kind, loved, weightless, spellbound, like I'm floating in space, like I'm ageless, like time stands still in a pond of cool memories, like wings in a bird bath, like an equal, like myself, the miracle of you. Goddamn, I love, love, love it.
This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lange, Tim Dahl, and a very dear friend of mine, Matilda Joon. We're talking to you and you're in Sweden. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
I want to talk a little bit about, because when we met, which was quite a while ago, I believe, did we meet at that spoken word festival where we were both at? And can you tell me, where was that? When was that?
We didn't meet there, actually, at the Spoken Word Festival in Stockholm. We were both performing there, but we met a couple of years earlier in the mid-90s. I was at one of your shows. I had been a fan of yours for quite some time, and it was an amazing gig. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And after your gig, you jumped off the stage down into the audience, and you came forward to me and kissed me on here with your red lipstick smeared all over, and you said, "We're sisters." And I sort of, had known that we had a connection, that we're very different as people, I think, but we have similar things that has going on in our lives that I think, are connected in a way. We can feel a connection and understanding with each other.
As Tim knows, I know how to pick them. You're not the first woman I've jumped. Usually I don't jump. I try to sally forth with some grace, and have picked other women out of the audience who I know are witchy spoken word artists. And well, I wish I was kissing you right now, because I didn't realize could not remember that at all. Tim, you want to say something?
How many people were at this performance? Because in a weird way, I guess I'd be taken back, but also you kind of feel kind of special. I mean, this is kind of a weird introduction, no? I mean, it's like insane. I mean, were other people looking at you like, why her? Why not me? Or were people just like, what? I mean, how do you respond to such a thing?
I was just happy and sad. I think we exchanged addresses and stuff, because this was pre-internet, everything, no cell phones or stuff like that. So I think we exchanged addresses and wrote a couple of letters and postcards and stuff. And I sent you a couple of records, and we just kept in contact. And every time, I think you were in a couple of festivals in the years later that, and then it was the first international spoken word festival in Stockholm that you were performing, and I was performing with a friend who did the music, and there was a lot of other people there as well. It was a great lineup. I remember it was Genesis P-Orridge was there.
Okay.
I assume when I jumped off the stage to kiss you, was that a spoken word performance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
In Scandinavia, they have 6 months of winter, which people read a lot. So they responded to spoken word, and they all speak English. So
everybody speaks English here.
Yeah.
We do. They don't have
subtitles
on TV shows and stuff like that.
Lydia, when you were in Gothenburg, you've been going a bunch in the last couple of years. So do you and Matilda, I mean, do you guys run into each other regularly when you go to Sweden?
Well, a good question, because the last time we ran into each other not that long ago, I was doing a spoken word workshop in where was it? Was it Malmo? Where was it, Matilda?
Yes, it was Malmo. It was here. It was Malmo here.
Oh, you're in Malmo now.
In Malmo,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the thing is, Matilda has already done years of spoken word. She had her own TV show. She's put on performances. She had no reason to take my class, which is basically you write, how do you read, and reading for the stage. But I have to say, the whole class was so devastated by the piece you read that everybody had goosebumps. And then we would reconnect every few years, whenever. I don't even know, but we would reconnect and keep in contact.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been going on since the mid-90s that we see each other when we can.
I have to let this little piece of rock gossip, although I won't name any names. At one point, actually, Matilda had asked if I would take some sexual revenge on one of her ex-lovers. That was very interesting, Tim. I'll tell you that in private later.
Okay.
We're not giving anyone unnecessary publicity. Thank you very much.
Well, here's some rock gossip I have about Sweden, Matilda. We were playing, because I'm in Retrovirus. We were playing in, I think, Stockholm. We had played in Helsinki. We took the ferry over to Stockholm, whatever, and we're coming back down through Malmo. And I had brought up in the van, I go, didn't like Metallica's bus flip over around here? At that point, we were basically at a rest stop. Our car doesn't start anymore, and it's broken down. And we were about 100 meters, because there was a shrine from where the Metallica accident happened. And I was like, ooh, maybe there's a kind of a cursed rock and roll curse spot on the planet over here.
It's a very witchy place, and it's very pagan too for quite long. That's what I want to talk to you about now before we have a revision of your incredible career. Is now that we're in the summer solstice period, tell us some of the pagan rituals from Sweden that were originated, and we know how they've deteriorated, but tell us some of the things that you know from just the history of your country.
I was growing up with this, so it's nothing strange for us who live here. But people looking inside are wondering, what are you doing? Because it's quite weird things. And if we think about it, it really is. We have this big maypole that we dance around. And it's like a huge phallo symbol. And everybody, kids, old, young, everybody's dancing around. It's really silly songs. People are drunk all over the place. And but it's very light and bright tradition. It's because we are welcoming the light, because it's dark here, really dark for 6 months, and then we are welcoming the light. And it's midsummer in Sweden is like something from another world, but I'm so used to it, so it's normal for us. I talked to my son today and said, do you ever think about midsummer as something weird? And he said, no, of course not. It's just what we do. But people are really, what is this? Because it is a pagan festival from hundreds and hundreds of years back. They started celebrating this, and then it was full of superstition and folklore and magic. That's where it comes from. Of course, people don't know that today so much, but they don't know why. It's just a holiday. It's the biggest holiday after Christmas here. It's huge. Back then, it was more like rituals for fertility and, of course, love and romance. And young girls went picking flowers in silence, 7 different kinds of flowers, and put under their bed, their pillow at night, and then they would dream of their future husband. But they had to be silent when they did all this. There was a lot of rituals like that, and weaving flowers to crowns and dancing around in the meadows. And it was said that you could see fairies, and you should be careful to be near lakes and rivers, because there was this water spirit. We call him Näcken, that somebody's naked. You can be taken by him and stuff like that. And you should also save the crowns with flowers, because everything had magic on this particular day, Midsummer's Eve. Everything. So plants and herbs had magical powers. So that's why they saved it and dried the flowers, and they were bathing in the flowers around Christmas. When they had their Christmas bath, they were bathing in the flowers because they had healing powers. And they could spread the ashes, because everything, they had big bonfires as well. So if they saved the ashes from the bonfire and turned them into maybe amulets with a bit of clay, they carried around that for good harvest and good health. Everything was about magic and folklore.
Well, they don't know what they're celebrating, because now they just get drunk and dance around the maypole. But it was all about worshiping and praying to the female energies of the harvest, of fertility, of love. And unlike your foremothers, my motto is men should be obscene and not heard. Women should do all the talking. And if you come to us, trust me, you'll get 2 ears full, maybe even a rear full. I'm just saying.
It's funny because, then the other solstice, of course, the winter solstice, the whole world, or at least the whole Western world, adopted that. Because, I mean, sorry, pine trees in your house, I mean, that didn't happen in Jerusalem. I mean, that completely comes from and what's interesting when I hear you, Matilda, talking about the summer one, it's psychedelic to a degree. And the more I learn, at least about the winter solstice and all those traditions, I mean, it all represents all this psychedelic stuff. The presents under the tree, the red with the white polka dots, are representing magic mushrooms.
The Amanita, which Lewis Carroll featured in a lot of his drawings, is the red and white Santa Claus dressing in red and white. Reindeers love those mushrooms.
Well, the reindeers are the piss, and supposedly the Sami people would track down the piss in the snow, and they're flying reindeers. Anyhow, I don't want to digress too much, but it's also, there's clearly some psychedelic roots to this as well. It seems like to me.
It is. It was there was a saying that you should walk out in the morning in the dew, in the morning dew, and roll around in it. And that was also, that could cure diseases and stuff. And you could also walk around in circles and have stones and let go stones into the fire. You walk around the fire and sort of release like small prayers, heal my mother, or give me a child, make me fertile and stuff like that. So it was love, romance, finding a spouse, and also back in those days for growth and harvest and stuff like that. So yes.
So when you were a teenager, of course, you were very involved in music. I mean, you were writing since you were a child in your journals. I can always tell a woman that has writing under her bed. Trust me, that's why I kissed you. But you were writing, but you were very interested in music. You would go to all the concerts, and also you started your own club and had a lot of bands that would come to town playing in your basement, in a basement club. Who were some of the bands at the time, and what year was that?
Oh, this was in the early 90s, and this was just bands here from Sweden, so I don't think you know them, but they were really cool at the time. Every band we knew came and played in this basement. It was just for quite short while, because then it was such a chaotic time, but it was for a year or maybe we had that club. It was wonderful, and it was really fun, but that made other people notice me in a way. So they asked me if I wanted to have a small TV show to begin with that was just broadcasting in the south of Sweden and in Denmark, I think. And that I named it Chaos TV.
Cool.
So yes.
Would you have bands come on that, and then?
All the time, every show we did, we had bands coming on, but also it was just Swedish bands. So yeah, but it was fun, and it was just a lot of art, culture, music, and some poetry and exhibitions I visited, and just we were very creative at this time. And I think back at it it's just wonderful.
You were the curator, which is great. Did Union Carbide ever play on your TV show?
Oh no, they didn't. They didn't. But
they're one of my favorite bands, Union Carbide, and I saw them when they played at CBGB's. And the last time I was in Sweden, it was like their 40th anniversary album that they released from that show, which was fantastic.
They are legends.
How eclectic was it? Because this is, for better or for worse, is really when Swedish, just Scandinavian extreme metal started becoming this international thing that the whole world was kind of paying attention to. Was that a very different world than, or were you kind of just bringing in all these bands that were covering all the spectrums?
No. It was just a lot of local bands and a lot of bands from Sweden, but it wasn't a huge thing like the club. It wasn't. It was big here for us, but that was how it started, and I got to know a lot of bands through that.
But not so much the metal scene.
Not so much the metal scene.
No.
Okay.
More rock.
No.
Hard rock,
glam
rock and roll, post-punk rock, that kind of stuff. And so
yes.
In the basement shows, then your TV show, then also when bands would play or festivals was when you just kept, like insisting on bringing spoken word to the stage.
Yes, I got to know a lot of big bands here in Sweden. I always ask them, can I get up and read something before you play? It must have been so fucking annoying. I'm always there, can I read something? Can I read something? But they were so kind, always. So they always said, yes, please do. And so the band sort of liked me. The audience didn't get anything. They wanted, where's the band?
Oh, so that's that's very brave, though. It's very brave to perform spoken word in a big, when there's a band with a big audience. I mean, this is one reason we would curate. I would start spoken word shows because, there's only going to be spoken word. With doing it with the music is sometimes it's very brave that you did that. Bold. Or as you
Yeah,
said, you could have been
I
annoying, but they loved you.
Yeah, I knew that most people didn't get what I was doing. They did or didn't care, but I didn't care about that because I was just, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to read my stuff. And it was maybe 2 or 3. It was just, yeah, this is great, But I didn't care if people didn't like it. I wanted to have experience, and getting better at doing these stuff. And that's why I was doing it, asking everybody, but they were kind.
To me, it's always the 2 or 3 people that in the audience, of whether it's 20, 50, 100, 1,000, that it really is going to impact. The same way if my performance or jumping off and kissing you on the heart inspired and helped to further, push you into more creation, that's what's important. It's always the 2 or 3 people that are the most important. Yeah.
Yes, I think we have talked about this before, but growing up where I grew up and in the family I grew up in, I was running away from home when I was 16. I couldn't be in that house anymore. It was a really toxic environment, and I needed to find my tribe. I needed to find my people because I was suffocating in that place.
Did you grow up in Malmo?
No, I didn't. I grew up in a really small village in maybe 2 hours from here, 2-3 hours from here, in the countryside. It was not a lot of people. It was really, everybody knew everybody. And it was a bit difficult. At the same time, it was quite magical, the nature, which has always been important to me, because I can see that now, how magical it was to grow up there with all the nature, but it was difficult in other ways. So yeah, I ran away to Stockholm when I was 16.
Okay, Stockholm. So and then you end up in Malmo because, for someone that doesn't know much about Sweden, I always hear Swedes going, Malmo is kind of our rough town. And I'm like, what? Every time I go there, it seems really clean and sweet, but yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, I tried to move away from here a couple of times, but I always come back because Stockholm is great. I lived there a couple of times, but I always move away from that. It isn't my town. Malmö isn't my town either, but I have 2 children who are grown-ups now, but when they were small, I had to make some arrangement with my ex-husband. I was married for this long, and he wanted to be a part of the children's lives, and he couldn't move. I sort of could stay here even if I didn't like it. So it just happens that I live here, but I could easily move.
Right.
It's part of the witchy nature to have a bit of the nomad in oneself.
Yes.
I'm going to just briefly say, Tim, so, I like to have these workshops for women only because we don't have sports, we don't have war. I know women write a lot, and I want to bring women to the stage. But there were 2 men that insisted, and one was an older man who said, I brought my daughter. Can I please come into the workshop? She's going to read my poems. And I said, okay. She was like 17, but the other one, it was kind of this creepy grandpa just going, I really have to be in this work. I really have to. And I'm like, all right. And the thing is, we were all suspect of him, but when he got up to do his thing, and all the women were amazing, by the way. I think there were 2 separate days. There was a psychotherapist and a psychiatrist. Anyway, the grandpa got up and said, I'm a disaster. I wrote 1 book years ago. I thought it was going to be a success. It was a disaster. It ruined my life. And then he read these poems and they were great. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to know how to choose them is all I'm going to say. I really enjoy doing that kind of thing. Have you thought, Matilda, about being still one of spoken word is not the most, or has it ever been the most popular form? And you could call it poetry or not. And now you have some new releases that we're playing on this episode with music, collaborating with some people from the Leather Nun. But have you thought about maybe starting like that workshop, a spoken word workshop, just kind of as a coven, a community of women who need their voices out there? I think I'm passing you that wand, witch. Just a thought.
I have. There should be more of it out there. It's been difficult the past year, of course, because everything is closed. But sure, I'm on. I actually, after the workshop you had, I contacted that place in Cons and said, hey, can we do something? You know, because there were a lot of people from the group who wanted to do something, but they were sort of hesitating. They had the place, you know, they had the stages. It could be easily done and just do things, but they were sort of, I didn't get the response from them. I will ask them again.
I think it's time to be our
Very annoying.
Be annoying. Well, I call it persistent.
Hello.
I'm back. Open the door, motherfuckers. That was, I mean, that's, it's very important to me. And I'm so happy that after, you know, especially during the pandemic, I mean, I also was recording spoken word, or when it's with music, I call it illustrated word, with Tim's group Grid. And I was very happy that at the same time you were making these recordings. Who else is doing the music? Because we're playing some of the tracks on this with you.
It's Aron from the Leather Nun, legendary cult icon band from Sweden. One of the bands that I saw when I was like 15, 16, 17 on festivals here in Sweden, I was just, oh, they're so cool. Little did I know that at the guitar player would do a collaboration with me 30 years later or something. But they are an amazing band. They don't really exist anymore, but Aron is still playing his blues jam gigs up in Gothenburg because he lives there with his family. And we've been friends for a long time. And I was so bored. This project is born out of frustration and boredom and just, I have to do something because I had so much planned last year and nothing happened. So yeah, like everybody else. Right. So I thought, what can I do? So I contacted a friend of mine called Ian Ottaway, and he's a singer and songwriter, musician. He released an album last year, did a duet with Mark Lanigan on it. It's a great album. And he has been writing stuff for ages that I really like. And I saved some of that. And I asked him, can I use some of your words with my words and create a cut-up technique? I take a bit here and a bit there and I mix it around and get some really cool stuff. And he said, sure, do it. He's lovely. He's amazing.
What was the name of his album last year? What was the name of that album?
Roll with the Damned. Roll with the Damned.
His name again?
His name is Ian Ottaway, and his album is called Roll.
What I want to say about your work, because first of all, no one would know that all of these words are just not pouring out of your heart and soul. What's interesting to me is they're very romantic. They're really about love, loss, intense love. And it's very hard to write. It's very hard to find a poetry or a spoken word that's so intimate and still so interesting and so darkly poetic. So I really appreciate that about your writing, and the fact that some of it is cut up with somebody else, because you would never, it's just so, it flows so perfectly. I love your delivery as well. And the music is great because it's a very unexpected combination. And everyone I play it to, the women just, they all get goosebumps. That's all.
Yeah, but it is a true collaboration with Ian Ottaway because a lot of is his words as well. So I can't take credit for all of it. And the music, of course, I have nothing to do with it because I record all the words. I edit and put all the pieces together where I feel that this is something that I really connect with, the words and everything. And it's a mix of it all. And then I just record the words and I send it to Aron in Gothenburg. And I said, just do whatever you like. I don't interfere at all. So this project is also that each person do their thing, but we don't disturb each other.
I understand, but what's interesting is that's very unusual that the lyrics come first, because it seems like your cadence is so accurate with the timing of the music. So they've done a great job. I mean, the same way that I often record illustrated word is usually I'll have the music and then I'll record on top of it, but whatever works. And that seems to work absolutely amazingly. So Tim, videos for these tracks, or do you have plans on releasing this as an album, or what are you going to do? Because I know you've been gathering up material for the past few months. So do you have any plans for what's going to happen with these beautiful pieces?
I would love to do some really cool videos, yes. But I thought about something that you were talking about, Union Carbide Productions earlier. You know that some of those people went on to form Soundtrack of Our Lives? That
Yes,
band?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who came up with that band name, Soundtrack of Our Lives? Aron from Leather Nun. He came up with a name and gave it to them. And they don't perform or play anymore, but that was a great band as well. One of the guys, I think it was the bass in the Soundtrack of Our Lives, he has a huge studio, recording studio, and Aron has been talking to him. Maybe we should do something with those tracks.
I think so.
Yeah, he liked them. Yeah, so I had that. So maybe they will mix them and do something off it. I hope so.
The mix
love to do something more.
The mix already sounds great. I mean, right now it's so difficult to release music in any format. That's why I always try to tell people, well, videos, people will watch videos. How do you even get a record out, distribute it, get any attention for it? But it doesn't matter. We do the music because we have to do the music. What's amazing to me about that band for 1 second is a band out of Gothenburg, Sweden had a sound closer to Iggy Pop and the Stooges than any band out of America. Now, I don't know if it was because they could afford better equipment, the same equipment, but not necessarily the songs themselves, but the sound.
Yeah, it's so funny you bring that up, Lydia, because I always wonder, you know, Gothenburg has had its little international, people acknowledge it internationally through different ways here and there because of bands. And that's the thing. I mean, with like rock and roll production, I mean, I'm generalizing, of course, but like, the French do it. The Germans, it's like, oh, it sounds a little different. It's true. The Swedish and the Scandinavian bands in general somehow got it right. I don't know what, but I don't know. How does your son react to your work? Does he ever make any comments on any of it?
I have a son and a daughter. No, they're not so, they are not so involved in, they don't.
Okay.
Really,
exactly.
They have their lives and they know that I do stuff, and they think it's okay, fun for you, but they're not really into it, I think.
Well, you know, are you into what they're into? Probably not. So that makes it pretty freaking even, if you ask me. That's all. All right. Well, post COVID, things are starting to percolate. You're recording the series of songs. You're gonna keep going. Yeah. I see a video in the future. You will be flooded with offers soon. And it's been really fantastic talking to you. And the fact that the fact of our origin of our friendship, because, you know, I have a few friends who live, and so does Tim, that touring, you're allowed to sometimes hook up again with your friends. But even just in the beginning that we kept in touch with letters and postcards, that's what people used to do, internet, and coming back together again, it was just been fantastic. And I'm so happy to talk to you today, and have a fantastic summer solstice, my witch. I'll be wearing flowers. This is the equivalent of a bridal bouquet. I won't be getting I might be getting a little tipsy and dancing around somebody's maypole, but it won't be in a public square, I can assure you that. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and Matilda Joon, and this is her next track.
The thing that they love about you is the first thing they try to kill. This is what you get for having a heart, a mind, a soul, and courage, and being true to yourself. Expect more pain, because only the dumb cannot feel. All of my joy has been murdered. Every soft thing fucked. Same new old song and dance, it could and should have been different. Same old dusty domino effect. You left me hanging out in the rain. Another piece of trash, another extinguished flame. You never noticed my birdshell heart. He never noticed how I lassoed the sun for children. He never noticed my saveless tears. He hardly even noticed when I left. Left for anywhere but goddamn here. To the pines, to the shores. Any place my mind could roam, I drifted towards. My tongue touching my upper back teeth, shaking my head. Never again, fucker. I'm laughing hot tears. Never again. I let go of people easy and chase pale pink memories, dogs, wolves, horses. There are worse things than being deceived and betrayed, and I'm sure I have no idea what they are. Don't you know? You've turned the castle of my heart into a graveyard. And I didn't come here to make your spirit feel bad. I came to learn how to live under this spell that you've spilled, when always isn't an option. But it's too late, too damn stupid, and too fucked up to drape my phantom longing arms around you tonight. My life is the song of the crippled dancer with a pinched nerve. It's not a song two people fall in love to. It's more of a selfish number, danced to alone, with nobody else in the hall, standing in the shadows wearing suicide shoes. Did I ever tell you that in my heart my guardian angel is a vulture? And while you play by rules you've been played by, I move in and out and around you. I am an angel on the four corners of the wind. You bat in the air as I steal your eyes, one soft pluck at a time. Then I go to work on your teeth, until your smile is so black that even heaven won't look at you twice. I am the murderous music that shuts off the air. While you pine away at your desk, my work is done, ready and waiting for you. You wake up when you clock up, when you're not expecting it, even though you feel me on the tips of your spine hair. You'll know my hug in your heaven-fucked, drug-induced coma. You wallow in the medication of my perfume. The blood of your religions are the crushed grapes that make up my wine. You never cease to fancy a change, yet you haven't changed the radio station for the last 50 years. I owe you thanks for giving me something to do with my time, for proving me right and birthing a mockery to my invalid lead. You don't need to call me. I'm already in your phone, and you were wrong. It was all in vain. Another safety pin needle through the skin of the heart, another name tag of sorrow lost during this battle to remain alive. You earn your stripes, you earn your blood, you earn your hot and wet-stained tears. You earn the bitterness behind your glowing eyes. You swallow it like the hatred for your old man. You swallow it like the last time before your divorce. You swallow all God's childish jokes. You learn to wear your face like a credit card mask. You learn to get cold. You learn to get deadly. And you learn your own sick medicine. Life is a silent movie with too much added violence and noise and tons of sweet, so sweet confusion. There is nothing kind about you. And in my next life, I won't ever let you do that to me again.